In this episode, we're talking about a cute little cross-section of The Legend of Zelda and Spiritfarer. It's Spindle. This and more on Indie Game Arcade. Welcome back to Indie Game Arcade, a podcast that deep dives into the latest and greatest indie games. Once again, I'm your cozy, story-rich puzzle sleuth, Chris.
And I'm your bonfire buddy, Joseph.
Your bonfire buddy. Hey, you got any marshmallows there, bonfire buddy, that I can
These
throw over this
bonfires are not
fire?
for marshmallows. These bonfires are for resurrection and leveling up.
Oh, okay, that's fair. Okay, but you do have a pack of hot dogs sitting there, I see. So, like, I get
Yeah,
you.
I got to eat something.
That's that's how you level up, is how many hot dogs can you eat in one sitting?
How many hot dogs can I fit in my mouth at one time?
Are you a length of the bun guy, or are you just like a regular Jumbo Frank kind of guy?
What do you mean?
Like, do you purposely, if you buy hot dogs, like, and now that I'm thinking about
I never buy hot dogs.
I know. I was
on.
like, now that I'm thinking about this is a dumb question because I know you and I know that you hardly would ever buy a hot dog.
If I
But
did,
if you
I would
did-
not buy buns. Go on.
I was going to say, okay, you go to a cookout. You go to a
Yes.
cookout and it's bad manners. You will get slapped in the nuts if you don't eat a hot dog there. And you've got your buns there, and there's two plates. One plate are regular-sized hot dogs. The other plate are bun-length size hot dogs. Which one do you go for?
Probably
It's an important question.
Probably the bun length ones.
Okay, good. Good man. Good man. Always
Okay.
go bun length. You don't want to bite into something that's just bread and ketchup and mustard or something. That's disgusting. Why would you not want meat in your
Well,
mouth at all times?
Yeah, I mean, just the ratio of it wouldn't make sense to
See?
me. Like, why would you
Yeah.
want more bun than hot dog if you're eating
Well,
a hot
that's
dog?
the thing. That's the thing. That's how they get you. They purposefully make hot dogs smaller than the buns just to mess with you.
That's dumb.
And that's why you gotta buy the bun length hot dogs.
Okay,
It's the only
well,
way.
I've never thought about that, and I never will again. But it's good to know.
Listen, this is something I think about a lot. This is one of those things that when I'm like in bed trying so hard to fall asleep and getting like kind of that like sort of angry flush where like my body's getting hot because I'm so mad I'm not sleeping. And I'm like, God damn it. Why don't they make all hot dogs the length of the bun? That doesn't make sense. And then I get all mad about it. And I'm up till 3 a.m.
That should really be a selling point for your buns if it's like hot dog length buns, and or for your hot dogs
Sure.
if it's like bun length hot dogs. I don't know which one is the perpetrator. Which one is doing wrong here? Are they making buns too big or making hot dogs too small?
Yeah, easy fix. Smaller buns. Smaller buns, buddy. Shorter buns.
Just cut your bun
gonna
in half.
patent that.
Then it's like you're gonna have way more hot dog than you're ready for.
I'm gonna make something called baby buns. No.
Oh, that's not gonna go well.
Nope. All right, we'll workshop it. Hey, speaking of buns, let's talk about indie games. Game start! I want to talk about Spindle. Spindle was released October 13th, developed by Wobble Ghost, published by Deck13, retails for $19.99, and for a quick description, this is an old-school action-adventure about I meant to write the word Reaper, and that is not the... it's missing a vowel in a very unfortunate place, so that is not the word that's on my screen. Named Dangle and his plucky pig companion questing to restore the natural order of death as people's souls are getting trapped instead of moving on to the afterlife, while also some strange shadowy substance encroaches upon the world. So this is like top-down action-adventure style, borrowing elements from classic 16-bit Zelda, like that Super Nintendo kind of era exploration, dungeons, keys, locked doors, puzzles, the overworld kind of traversal, all that good stuff. But, like, here's the thing, man. I saw this was coming out, And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll play a little bit of this, see if this is what I want to bring forward. And like literally in probably 20 something minutes of playing the demo, I exited the demo and I bought the game and immediately just started playing the game because I was like so in love with this game that fast. And it also has probably the most homage I've ever seen to the Zelda series as a whole, which is probably part of the reason I fell in love with it so much, because it is hitting those nostalgic heartstrings so hard. One of the very first areas you go to will immediately make you kind of think of influence from Ocarina of Time with the look and layout of some of the town, like particularly juxtaposed like to the graveyard, which looks a lot like Kakariko Village, like both that graveyard, that village, like you immediately will recognize it. There's also like hidden Triforce symbols to be found like around the world, which is crazy. Like a book that you'll look at and there's like a little Triforce on it. When you find items, you hear this sound that feels like it fits right in with games like some of the later Zelda games like Skyward Sword or even like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. Enough that I hope Nintendo never sees this game because they will sue the shit out of them.
Oh,
so
man.
please, like people play this game, but don't tell Uncle Nintendo about this one. Keep this one a secret between us, all right? Because, hey, I know your dad works at Nintendo, but so don't tell him. Don't tell him. We got to keep this under wraps.
Do you feel like it's that close to it?
Enough that if I had made the game, I'd be sweating. I'll say this. I think it's safer than Pal World, but maybe not by like a whole ton.
I feel like Pal World has got their attention for now. So this game is probably fine. It's okay to make Zelda-likes as long as you're not like, I don't know, copying the whole thing, I assume.
No, it's definitely not. Where I think some folks might disagree with this, and like, here's the thing, I am going to say this is a Zelda-like because it 100% is, but where some people might disagree a little bit is the combat. And there is plenty of combat. There's just not as much combat as you would get in like a Super Nintendo era Zelda. And I'm going to reference the Super Nintendo kind of era as like sort of the pinpoint for this, like specifically like Link to the Past is really what this feels like. But also I guess some of the Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color kind of stuff, like Minish Cap, I would say is also another one that this feels a lot like. But your main weapon is a scythe because you are a Reaper. You have energy, like an energy bar that will build up by slaying monsters. And the magic that you are using when you fill that up is to heal yourself. So that is kind of nice in the aspect that you can really like keep going and you don't have to worry as much about, constantly searching for like hearts and stuff like that, because you have that ability. As long as you keep fighting, you can keep healing yourself, which is kind of cool. You do unlock other powers as you progress. Like the latest one that I unlocked was being able to turn living objects to stone, which is way handier than I thought it was going to be. I was like, okay, well, that's kind of cool. I can think of maybe a few instances in which like I would use this. So I was like a little disappointed at first. And then it kind of like throws you into instances in which you have to use it to be able to progress. And especially like you have to use it like during like this really big boss fight. And then like it kind of unlocked that like thing in my brain where I'm like, oh my God, this is way more powerful than I thought it would be. I'm going to be able to use this for so much stuff. And yeah, it was great. You also have your trusty dodge roll. You have a pig that follows you around. The pig is your fairy, essentially, if we're still talking Zelda turns. He guides you along. Also, at some point, you can control him in certain areas for specific puzzles. The big selling point, though, on this game, for me, aside from the look, because the look is absolutely stunning, is the dungeons. Where the combat might lack slightly compared to the Super Nintendo Zeldas, like I was saying, the dungeons feel far more intricate and clever, with really, really fun examples of environmental puzzle solving, and also having to manipulate certain enemies to do some of that. Like, for example, there's like one dungeon I was in that I had to get this fire-breathing enemy to spit his fireballs at me and then dodge out of the way so it would instead hit this TNT barrel that would then explode and set off this other nearby group of other TNT barrels that would also explode and then blow open this part of like a kind of like a cave wall that would open up a new part of the dungeon for me. So there's like a whole lot of stuff like that where like you go in and at first you're probably not going to understand like what you're supposed to do. And it's like the more critically you think about it, like there's just so many interesting mechanics and stuff with those dungeons to try new things that I have not experienced in like other games like this.
I do appreciate that from the perspective of making it, if you're going to have puzzles in a game, at least respect my intelligence enough to try to solve something, try to figure something out. Don't just make it like, step on this green square and the door's going to open, or push the treasure chest onto this other one and the door's going to open. It's always that. And like, I speak of Zelda games specifically because like, that's how a lot of them are. Like, and I get it. Like they're, you know, that just kind of the way they've always been. And it's not, no shame towards that. It's just like, I feel like the puzzles in there have always just been such throwaways because they just are so simple. So whenever someone does take advantage of either different game mechanics that you have, different abilities that you're gathering, or just something that's not just outright in your face obvious, like I always respect that. At the very least, give me the opportunity to get like a special item by solving some kind of really challenging puzzle that's not going to keep me from completing the game if I don't solve it. But if I can, then it's like, oh, great. Now I've got this cool sword or something because I figured this thing out.
Yeah, here's a really good example, too, that kind of goes with what you were talking about, like the idea of step on the switch, that'll open the door. So there was an instance in this one dungeon, and it might have been the same one I was talking about before, where there was one of those things of like, step on the switch, open the door. But it's one of those things where something needs to stay on that switch for me to go through it. And like, there was nothing in the room that I could manipulate to put on that switch. And like, I kept coming and going from that room and I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I'm not sure. So the other things that were in that particular room was this one enemy who is this like fire, kind of like a fire blob. Because this enemy is what he is, I can't attack that enemy. So like the only thing I can do is avoid him. The only other stuff that was in this room were like a few of these like cacti. And I didn't really think anything of those for a bit. So I just like kept thinking and thinking, I'm like, there's gotta be something here I'm missing. So like I left the room, looked around the dungeon a little more, and I'm like, no, I've got to go that way. There's got to be something that I'm missing. I go back and I'm just kind of experimenting, trying to figure out if there's anything I can do to that enemy, not finding anything. I take a swing at him, and at one point I miss and I hit one of the cacti and see water shoot out of it. I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And it's not like there was nothing to indicate that that would happen. It's just all about experimentation and thinking. So I'm like, okay, what if I can kite this little fire blob over at the right angle by one of these cacti, hit that. I wonder if the water will cool him, and just let's see what that does. So I do that. And he does cool, and he turns into a rock that I can then move and put on the switch and then open the door and move on. And I'm like, oh my God, that was so brilliant. It took the simplistic little thing, go on switch, open door, to like this whole thing without like, you know, handing you anything, because like you really had to experiment and think about what you have to do.
That's what I'm talking about. That's great. Because that is a multi-layered kind of puzzle that requires just, you know, not like ultimately like impossible at all, but you just have to use everything at your disposal. And that's not handed to you. You have to figure it out organically. And I really respect that.
Yeah. And it was almost like every kind of puzzle within like these dungeons felt like that. Like, it made you feel incredibly smart solving these things because it was just like really testing you and like exercising that critical thinking kind of reflex of your brain. You know, it was challenging in ways that I had not been challenged in a game like this for a very, very long time. And I would dare to say, like, I felt like there was more interesting things here than I have had experienced in Zelda games of the past from like this kind of style. So very, very much enjoying that aspect of it. And same for the bosses. So you do have these big epic boss fights for each dungeon. They're a lot of fun to fight, learning their patterns, seeing what they do as you whittle them down, and like how they might change their tactics once you do the thing. I mean, it does follow like the classic kind of formula, but they still like have things about them that are different. One of my favorite ones so far is this dude that's almost like this big fire-breathing worm. And like, you can't really, like when he breathes, like his flames, he'll breathe like multiple flame, like fireballs at you at once. And like, you have to kind of like dodge between them. And then he'll like spit other things out. One of the things is like a cacti that you then have to like really quickly use your, you know, turn a living thing into stone, hide behind it as soon as you do it. Cause then he breathes like this big thing of fire that you cannot dodge. And then he'll like slam himself into it and you got to run up and then attack him. And it's like, you know, the whole process, but it was just so satisfying. Like every boss fight has been very satisfying so far. And you're doing all this to kind of save these forlorn souls for people who have basically died but can't move on. And those souls are getting trapped in these spaces. So once you defeat a boss and save like the soul, instead of like the princess in a crystal or like a sage or something, you instead get this really melancholic and kind of beautiful look into this NPC's life as they reflect on their own passing and, you know, maybe regrets that they had, or, you know, maybe even like happy things that they're, you know, reflecting on or just grateful about as you then shepherd them into the afterlife. So, yeah, it's just got these cute little beautiful moments like that really make it special. The world's got tons of NPCs, side quests, other things like collecting death coins, which are essentially like your heart pieces. You collect 4, you go to a statue, it'll give you a new heart for your health and stuff. Looks good, man. It sounds amazing. You get these big orchestral swells of music that feel really epic. It's just one of those games that wears that inspiration proudly, and it accomplishes exactly the kind of game it sets out to be. Like, I would call this Zelda-like, to coin a phrase. And there's just so much charm and nostalgia oozing out of it, even though it's like a totally new IP. Like, I feel nostalgic playing it and cannot put it down. So this has the biggest recommend from me. It also has multiple, at least 2 difficulty modes, so you can choose to play it on like normal or easy, and then you can also choose hard. So whichever mode you want to go into, it's got something for you.
Very nice. Yeah, this looks like a really cool game. Since you did pick it up, I may try that.
Man, I think you should.
Yeah, I think so, just purely because it is going to at least give me more of a challenge than a lot of these games do, or at least like in the puzzle aspect of things. Like that just sounds really satisfying, and the mechanics look really great.
Plus you get a little pig companion, and he's really fun. One thing I like too is they don't explain why for the pig. Like, it's just, I guess, kind of, I don't know. It's accepted, I guess. Yeah. It's just accepted. It's normal for Reapers, I guess. Power up! Hey, if you're enjoying this episode so far, do us a favor and throw us a like, a follow, share the episode or the podcast with folks who love indie games so we can get more of these game recommendations out there and support indie game devs. We also have our YouTube channel at youtube.com/nerdsloth, where you can catch us playing more indie games, or check out our top 5 and top 10 series for even more indie game recommendations, because we believe there's an indie game out there for everyone. Combo! Let's talk about some other indie games we've been playing this week. I usually kick these things off, but I want you to kick it off because I talked a whole lot about a game that you haven't played. So I want you to start, and I'll talk about mine after.
Okay. have you played Absolum? Because it's amazing. It's so good.
I talked about Absolum like last week.
This is such a cool game. And I had no doubt because, Dotemu, I don't know how they pronounce the name.
Here's the thing. Okay. Yeah. I thought it was Dotemu because I'm reading it like it's like a Japanese thing, like Dotemu or something. Yeah. But like lately,
is it .emu?
Every single podcast I've listened to this last week that's talked about Absolum has called it .emu. And I'm like, is it?
Is it .emu or .mu, like emulator?
They've all been saying .emu.
Oh my God. Now I'm even more confused.
Yeah, I know, man. It doesn't make any sense to me.
All right, I'm gonna join the club here. Peer pressure.
Can we call him Dottie?
.emu. .emu?
Nothing sounds good. None of it sounds right.
Okay, so Absolum, that game is absolutely amazing. I finally unlocked my frog boy, Brome, and I'm very excited about that. He is so cool, this frog wizard. It is a challenging game. I have not beaten it yet. Like I've gotten like close to the last boss, but I still haven't even gotten there yet because it is like pretty challenging especially if you don't have the right setup. I'm finally at a spot though, like comfort wise with the controls that I feel pretty good about. Like maybe in my next run or two, I should be able to get there. But then on top of that, there's other routes you can take that I just haven't yet or just couldn't yet. And there's one, at least in the northern spot that I was going through, that had like a more challenging route I could have taken. I was like, no, I'm not ready for that yet. And so that's something else that I'll have to experience. And it seems like every time I start a new run, there is something else revealed to me, or it'll be like, I'll experience something on this run. And it's like, okay, now you need to go to this different spot on the map on your next run or whenever. There will be this like spot on the map that is now marked for me to go complete some kind of quest, or event. Yeah. And you don't have to go that way, but obviously it behooves you to, because you'll get something from that and you'll continue the story on. And so I just thought that was a really cool way that they're playing with that. This roguelike beat 'em up. I mean, this is the same team that did Streets of Rage 4. So like I had no doubt on that the beat 'em up aspect was going to be great. And I played this actually during the last Next Fest. I think it was the last Next Fest before this one, and enjoyed it then. And I am just like having a blast with that. This is where a lot of my time has gone this week when I wasn't playing the Next Fest games for the prior episode. Like that is where most of my time's been spent, and happily so, because I'm just really loving this thing.
Yeah, that was something I think I failed to mention when I brought this up last week, which was the idea that like different events will happen on the map that are like become like points of interest and stuff. So it's like gives you incentives to like head that direction, but like you have free will. You don't have to. You can totally just go off and explore something else. But there's always just like something interesting will happen every time you go there. And a lot of times it'll open you up to like possibly like a better reward or something when you do that. And yeah, I like that a lot. And that is something that's very different from the majority of roguelikes out there.
Yeah, at least not in the same way. Like a lot of roguelikes lean on the like randomly generated dungeon kind of thing, where it's like different rooms. These are not like randomly generated. Like there are like pre-made levels. You won't experience all of them every time. Like they will change sometimes depending on the route that you take also. But for the most part, like you're seeing the same kind of level, but that doesn't mean that the same thing is going to happen on that level every time.
Exactly.
Which is cool.
What threw me for a loop the first few, the first hour or so I was playing, was not knowing who was friend and foe, because like I talked to this dude who was like a human, and he's like, hey man, this one city is just kind of under siege by these goblins. It sucks, bro. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll head out there. That was like the point of interest that popped up on my map. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna liberate that town from those goblins. I get out there. I'm like, okay, I see them fighting. I see the humans fighting the goblins. I go to fight the goblins, take out the goblins. The people start jabbing me with their spears, and I'm like, what the fuck? I came here to save you, you ungrateful bastards. So I had to fight everybody. And I was like, what is with that? Why are we not friends? That's unfair. Yeah.
And then you have to help the humans build a bridge back up. Then the goblins are going to be mad at you again. You just can't win.
I know. Everyone hates me.
Literally, they do, because like everyone hates wizards and we are wizards. And so therefore, yes, you're correct. Everyone hates you.
I know. I play games to escape what happens in my real life. I don't need to be hated in both. Anyway, yes, it's a really, really good game.
Mm-hmm.
This will be a little shorter, but I played Carimara Beneath the Forlorn Limbs, which is a short atmospheric folk horror game.
Oh, yeah.
Where you are this mute shaman little guy, which is called a Carimara, who is exploring this home that's kind of cursed by grief. And you can only speak using cards. So you examine objects. When you examine like these specific objects, it will give you a card of that object. Then you can use that card to like present to the people you want to talk to, or use it against objects. If it's like, let's say a chest and a key, you can use the key card against the chest and it'll open. So it's like you're using cards for everything, for any kind of communication or action. It's one of the most bizarre games I've ever played. And I mean that in a good way. Though it did take me a little bit to kind of understand the scope. And what I mean by that is that you have to fail. You cannot progress without failing a few times. There's a spirit deep under this creepy cottage just to set the stage. And there's this strange old woman there is hoping you can do something about it. You have to search around to examine different things. As I said, get the cards that you need. Go down there, try to talk to the spirit. You're basically trying to exorcise it. You cannot get all the cards you need to take care of that spirit the first time that you would go down there. And you'll confront it. It's going to get mad at you. It's going to slap you silly, knock you out. That has to happen because time needs to pass to another day so that what is happening in the scene, like in the cottage or whatever, changes. The old woman will be doing something else. Maybe she's out in the garden now when you wake up, and that means the door to the cottage is open this time, which means you can now walk outside the cottage, explore out there, find more cards that you need. So it's like basically you have to fail a couple times to sort of progress the story along to get all of this stuff that you actually need to then finish the game. It's really short, but it's also super interesting, and the art and design is crazy. There's a lot of horror overtones to it as well, which I really, really enjoyed. But the big thing, and I'm not going to spoil it, but there is a secret ending that takes a big pivot, and it is so ominous that like it makes you feel like you just made the biggest mistake of your life. And it just makes me hope there's some, I don't care in what capacity, but some kind of follow-up or something to this, because I want to know more of this story. I need to understand. I need to know what I've done.
Yeah, maybe that is encouraging some kind of like follow-up because of that, like I guess that open-ended sort of ending it sounds like it has. I don't know what it is, but maybe.
Yeah, it's sick, man. It's super cool.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a cool game. In the same style as like horror like card, or you're trapped in a room and you have to play a game to get out of it kind of deal. I know you're not trapped in a room in this one, but it has that same kind of style of like, I need to play this little game to overcome this bigger threat or something.
Yeah. And man, there's so many like creepy things that happen too. Like, I remember one specific instance, like I'm walking down this tunnel, like under the house to try to get to the spirit thing. So walking down underground, and I just happened to see like a little, I heard a noise, and like a little rock or something fell, like a little pebble. And so I just turned around, and like the old woman was like crawling through the tunnel behind me, and then immediately disappeared real fast. And I was like, Jesus Christ, it scared me so bad. There's like a bunch of little jumps, like they're not like jump scares because nothing's like jumping in your face, but it's like little things like that are so unnerving. Like you're by yourself somewhere and you look around, there's nobody there, but you pass by a mirror and you can see her face like over your shoulder in the mirror, and you're like, geez, no. But you turn around, there's nothing there, and it's like, oh God.
And that's a short experience too, right? It's like 5 hours or less.
No, way less than that. Way less than I'm talking like you could finish this in an hour or less.
Oh wow.
Easily.
Okay. Yeah.
Easy. You talked a little bit about in the last episode, a semi-magical girl kind of thing. But you played another magical girl kind of game.
Kind of, but less magical girl and more just like really leaning into all of the anime vibes. Starlight Revolver is the game that I played through. Not through. It's early access, so it's just like one level, I guess, that I played. Or not one level. Like you go through the whole thing, but it's not complete yet, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I know there was a lot of like negative feedback against it initially. I don't know exactly what that was revolving around, because when I played through it, it felt super smooth. It was frankly a little too easy for me, at least on the first difficulty level. So I know there's ways that I can bump it up, and I assume it will get more challenging like once I do. It's an action roguelike in the same style as like Hades or something, in that you're going from room to room, killing all the enemies in that room and progressing to the next room and then to bosses, et cetera, et cetera. But the fun part is it's just got such like a cute charm to it. I guess like technically the reason for it being so colorful and like vibrant is because you are divers who are like diving into dreams, into these dream biomes called somies, I think. And you're taking on just like dream or nightmare monsters, I guess, finding treasure, customizing your gear. You can unlock like different outfits and stuff, and different charms you can carry over between runs. And on top of that, there's also a pretty cool fishing mini game. There's crafting that I didn't really delve into, accessorizing, which is where a lot of like the like cosmetic stuff comes in. I didn't purchase any of that, but I saw that there was a big shop that I could have. And like it's a 1 to 4 player co-op actually. So there is a big social hub to it. And
that's cool.
That's where you can do a ton of different things there, and just like hang out with friends if you want to, if you have friends. That also, like, there are a lot of like cats and dogs just hanging out around there, and you can pet every single one of them. And I did, at least every single one I could find.
Yes.
And yeah, it has like a action roguelike meets like MMO light kind of feel to it, in that you're able to like group up together, go on these missions, try to beat whatever kind of boss you're going after, or whatever like dream world you're going after. And then, just also have fun socially together outside of that. But even if you're not doing that, it plays perfectly fine solo. I think actually that's one of the things that people had complaints about initially, was that it was like extremely challenging solo. It just wasn't well balanced, I think. But they've absolutely fixed that. I don't know what it was like before, so I can't speak to that. But at this point, it's like it was very easy for me to go through by myself. I got these cool bombs, like these cat bombs that were like raspberry and blueberry were their names, and they're literally just these like giant cute these giant bombs with like cute cat faces. It would just explode. I got them as like a joke at first as my ability, but then I really started leaning into it, and raspberry could do so much damage. It really carried me through that game for the most part, because I knew if I was able to get raspberry to explode, which the way those bombs exploded was by like the more damage they took either from you or the enemy. So there were times I could just block off enemy shots with raspberry and just have him blow them all up as I was doing something else. So yeah, that really gimmicky kind of build is also something I appreciated about it, because this another thing that like they were stating in the patch notes, the more recent patch notes, was that any build is like viable now. So I guess maybe that wasn't the case before, but in this instance, like I really like playing gimmicky builds sometimes, or like builds that are just like weird just to see if I can do them. So I'm glad that they were able to let me go through with this like purely cat bomb run and still succeed. So that was really fun.
The thing that I love about that game is just the vibrancy of it. It's like all in this neon bubblegum sort of like feel. And it's just like super, super like energetic, happy, goofy, just looks amazing. And the music's really good too.
Super cute characters. Love the art style. Extremely vibrant. And I think like if I were to like bump up the difficulty by taking on more of those like challenging enemies, I feel like that would be like a real sweet spot for me of like, oh, this is super cute, but also challenging enough for my liking. And, you know, there were times, honestly, okay, so I got through that entire run. I took 2 hits for a total of 3 damage. So those are just like incidental hits that I took from something else. And so that's where I was like, and that was my first time playing it, period. That's how I know like maybe it was a little either overly balanced or they just have it to where it's like you have a really easy onboarding with this easy mode or with the like starting mode. And once you start bumping it up or once you start progressing, that's when you really start to feel like the challenge that you might be able to encounter.
I'm really hoping that retooling this thing really brings players back because they lost a lot of support when that first demo came out or like the first version of early access. A lot of people were turned off by it because of just how unbalanced everything was. They literally completely rebuilt the combat mechanics. Like totally ripped out entire systems and retooled it from the ground up. So they are very, very devoted to making things right and getting players back on board and making it a good experience. And it sounds like they did a pretty good job because like you are someone that like this sort of game is like your bread and butter, the action roguelike. And if you had a good time with it, then I feel like they've got to be on the right track.
I really did. Like, I don't have any complaints about it on the mechanics side. And I think, like I said, there are options that could make it the challenge level that I would want. But for anyone like just coming on board for like a fun social game to like go through with your friends, I think it's in like even right now, like it's kind of in a perfect spot for that because it's not like so easy that you can just like hold down a button and not even look at the screen, but it's also not so hard that you're going to get super frustrated by it if you're playing with your friends or whatever, or even alone. So it's early access. I really enjoyed it. And this is one that I would pick up the full version of once the 1.0 comes out.
Yeah, I think they gave us a key though, so I think we're good. I don't think we have to. But yeah, but we would buy it if they didn't already give us the keys.
Yeah,
thank you very much to the devs. So yeah, and we also both played a little bit of Ball Pit this past week. I want to hear your experience a little bit, like initially, but like we'll probably talk more about this maybe next week because I do want to deep dive more into this one with you and spend a little bit more time on it because I have a lot of thoughts and feelings on this one, but like I just want to kind of gauge like what's your initial feel on it.
So Ball Pit, the brick breaking roguelike is,
or is it Ball X Pit?
No, it's like no. I never know how you're supposed to do that because there's like the what is it, Tekken Cross Street Fighter or whatever. Or just like Tekken Street Fighter, but then there's like Spy Family because you're not going to say Spy X Family. I don't know. It's all very confusing to me. So I'm just going to say Ball Pit, and it is so far so good. I played an hour and a half of it, not nearly enough time to get like a full impression of it or to do a whole lot, but I think I have an idea enough of it down to kind of like grow from here. And my initial impressions are fantastic. Like, I think it's going to be really fun to dive into this. There's a whole like side thing of like your town building aspect that is interesting. And it's interesting because it's not just like, oh, I'm putting a farm here, it's doing a thing. I'm putting a forest here, it's doing a thing. I'm putting a building here. It's like you put those things there, but sometimes like the buildings, especially like they're not done until you hit them a certain number of times. And by hit them, I mean once per day, you can line your characters up, the characters you have unlocked up, to like shoot
them like a pinball
in the same way, like the brick breaking thing that you're doing as the main game. And as you like rebound them off things, like you kind of want to try to aim them towards the building you're trying to break, or the stuff you're trying to pick up or harvest. It's just like a really interesting thing that like I thought was going to be frustrating at first, but now I'm like kind of into it. So I look forward to my like post game days of me like going back to the base and getting to do my one pinball shot. And I'm glad it's just one also, because that makes me really think about like my angle and everything, because I don't want to waste my day and get like a crappy rebound. So yeah, that's just like a real side thing, where the main game obviously is just the brick breaking aspect, and that part has been fantastic. I've only really had time to beat the first level of it with a couple characters, because you have to beat it at least twice and I just beat it twice. So I just unlocked the second level, which is this ice level. I haven't really played it though. So yeah, so far so good. I will report more next week, but yeah, love it.
Yeah, I'm really excited to get into like some of the builds and stuff, and just kind of see some of the stuff that you've been doing. The last one I did was I was doing all the baby balls, like as many as possible, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Did you beat the run with that one?
No, actually, when I beat the run, it was lasers everywhere, and that was lasers and burn. Actually, was what I went with. But those lasers are fantastic. But yeah, I do want to kind of theory craft with you a little bit next week when we talk more about it, for sure.
Yeah. I'll have a lot more to talk about. I could go into it right now, but I won't, because it's going to be a long discussion.
Final round! Let's talk about some upcoming indie games we're excited about. I still have some horror games to recommend, because that's all we do. That's all I do, is recommend horror games until it is no longer spooky time. I've got two here that I'm going to bring up. This first one is 100% up my alley. I've already wishlisted it. I need it right now. This is called Shutter Story. So in this game, your friend Eli thinks his family is being haunted. No one believes him. You don't even believe him at first, but you are a budding photo editor, and he shows you, actually, what's funny is you have some software, but it's actually like super retro, which is kind of the charm of the game, because I think this is supposed to be a little bit of a period piece. Anyway, he shows you some family photos and some home videos, and you start finding all kinds of super disturbing things, which then sends you down this path of going all through his family history, and you're researching the family and categorizing the things you find, trying to solve what the heck is happening. It's inspired by the movie Pulse, which is a fantastic Japanese horror film, along with some other great indie games like Her Story, Mouthwashing, Home Safety Hotline. So I'm super, super into this. To me, it feels like a horror version of The Root Trees Are Dead. So if you like that game, which is one that I swear to God I am going to stream one of these days, then this is basically the horror version of that, and you'll probably like this if you like spooky stuff. The other horror game I want to get everyone's attention on is called They Are Here. This is a first-person narrative horror game about a journalist named Taylor Fox who comes to a farm to document the weird paranormal rumors coming out of it. Kind of like, what is the one really famous one? Stardust Ranch, or is it a different one I'm thinking of?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. I need our former peers from A Little Spooky real quick to pop in here and tell me. Anyway, so she goes there and she's like, doing things like looking for clues, studying audio and video before getting into full-blown alien abduction horror. It's inspired by the X-Files and the movie Signs. Looks really good. Reminds me of like Silent Hill, but with aliens and on a farm. So there you go. There's two horror games to add to the wish list.
Silent Hill, but aliens on a farm.
Yeah.
The ones that I wanted to bring up, not a horror game, but looks super fun. And I just learned about it today. So this one is called Bermuda Survivor.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That's great.
You're like a shirtless diver with the cape on with like a like classic like scuba helmet. What you're trying to do apparently is to survive hordes of enemies and discover the secrets of the Bermuda Triangle. And it just looks so wild and like it fun in a way where it's like, yeah, it's going to be like a horde survivor, but I feel like there's going to be a lot more to it than that. And there is a story that you're actually going through as you're progressing here, and different quests you can go on, and obviously a ton of different like weapons and stuff. Looks like he's driving a tank in one of these scenes, somehow picked up a tank. So it's like it just looks wild. And I like the graphics of it. And I really like their store page, because if you go down to the about section, this is one of the most stylized about sections I've seen in a game, period. And I just love that. Like, it wins points for me just for the style of that, the design, the layout.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I've just been like on a horde survivor kind of kick lately, just because a ton of games have been coming out and a lot of them have been appealing to me. And this is another one that I'm going to have on my wish list. And it comes out October 20th, 3 days.
I love the color scheme of it too, like the blues and pinks.
Yeah.
That's just always something that appeals to me. And that actually, for whatever reason, I think just because the hues and stuff reminds me a little bit of that game Nitro Kid, because that game uses a lot of the same kind of color palette. It looks great. I had seen this pop up also, and I had wish listed this, and I was gonna actually probably bring it to the show at some point, especially because it releases this month. So you beat me to it. But once it releases, we're gonna have to play this one and check it out, because it looks so much fun.
Definitely. The other one I want to mention is also on October 20th, actually, Lone Soul, which is a fast-paced hack and slash roguelite with so this one would be more akin to, like, I don't know, Hades combat or whatever you want to call it, in that you are just like dashing around and gathering all these different powers, shaping unique builds and things like that. But you are, I don't know what like the exact like mythology of it is, but you're in some kind of like mythical, like dream looking world, and it just looks cool. I don't know a ton about it. There's not really a lot like at least not in the description of it. I haven't read all the notes at the bottom, but I just like visually the way it looks, and it seems like it'd be up my alley.
I do too. Reminds me a little bit of like just in the way of the design of stuff, reminds me a little bit of the Torchlight series, and how things are kind of like bulky, but also like really smooth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As far as like the architecture design and the character designs and stuff. Yeah, this looks pretty good. Yeah, and I'm looking at the trailer now. This looks fun.
Yeah. So these are just some nice like surprises for me, because I didn't realize they were coming out. And not that I don't have enough to play already, but hey, why not add a couple more?
Yeah, why not, man? Especially after Next Fest, where like our wish lists are now just the most bloated I think they've ever been.
Yeah, well, at least most of those are coming out either next year or like late this year. So I've got time.
So one more game I wanted to bring up real quick. Now, this one did release on October 16th, developed by Marty Pixelrod. It's called Prototype 1, A Tale of Two Mundos. And the idea of it is like the character 1 basically gets in trouble in his like 16-bit world, and then gets banished all the way down to like the prototype of his game, all the way down into like a 1-bit version. It's sort of like a mini Metroidvania. So there's like a lot of stuff to go through and everything, trying to get back into that like 16-bit overworld of all of the color and the shapes and everything like that. And it just looks really cool. The dev had reached out to us on Blue Sky and stuff, and let me know that the game had just come out. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to play it just yet before like the next episode or anything. But I was like, you know what? At least I can mention it on the show, because it looks really fun. There's like the levels that will have like some pieces of it is like 1-bit in some areas and 16-bit in some areas that you're going back and forth between, which is really cool.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of also getting a this is more of a me game than a you game feel from it. And I say that because it looks like there's some like Super Meat Boy kind of aspects of it in that everything is there to kill you and there are spikes everywhere. And I love that.
I would be terrible at this. I would like, this is not a game that I would be able to like, get very far in because I'm awful at a lot of these games. Although I will say I definitely have beat the original Mario Brothers, which is notoriously difficult. I will just say.
Talk to me when you've beaten the original Ninja Turtles game.
I feel like I have at one point, but I think I was a kid.
That game was just like hard because it was bad, like badly designed.
Yeah, exactly. But just want to bring this one forward because the dev is super awesome, and like I can tell he put a lot of love into this thing. It's just such a cool, novel idea.
Yeah, I do want to play this one.
There you go, man. There you go. Cheap price point too, $4.99. Currently on sale too at $3.99 until October 30th. So everyone go check this one out. Deserves some attention.
Game over.
Hey, if you had a good time listening to this episode, stick around for the bumper to learn how you can help support the show and all the things we do here at Nerd Sloth Creative. You can also check the show notes for our link tree, which will take you to our social media, Discord, merch store, and tons of other cool stuff. But get in touch with us. Let us know what indie games you're playing, especially the indie games you tried out on Steam Next Fest, and help us elevate these games so we can help support indie game devs. That's game over for us. My name's Chris.
I'm Joseph.
And we'll continue on the next episode.
Continue.
Indie Game Arcade is recorded and produced by Nerd Sloth Creative. If you're looking for more gaming content, head over to youtube.com/nerdsloth for indie game let's plays and recommendations. If you'd like to support the show, head over to patreon.com/nerdsloth, where you can select a pledge and receive access to hundreds of hours of bonus content from everything at Nerd Sloth Creative. If you're an indie game developer and would like us to review your game or explore other opportunities, send an email to nerdslothcreative@gmail.com with the subject line Indie Game Arcade. Thanks for listening, and keep supporting indie game devs.